It's 10 o'clock Mountain Time. That means it must be Thursday. It's March 18th, 2021. Happy St. Patrick's Day, a day late, everyone. Happy to have you along there. And hey, we're happy to be here with you today. And today we're going to talk about finances. We're going to talk about how to read your small business financial condition. And of course, that is extremely important if you're in a small business. Before we do that, we need to remind you we are on YouTube, and please subscribe. Ring the notification bell so you'll never miss another podcast. In case you forget, we're here every Tuesday and Thursday at 10 a.m. And like us, because that builds our channel. That helps us be shown to more folks. So put a like down there, leave a comment, all of that. Also, we're on Patreon. I'm not sure where you can get information from Shane and I, personalized one-on-one, any cheaper than you can just by supporting the show. So if you're a regular here, we would appreciate very much if you would join our Patreon family. And the link to that is in the description below. All right,
That's
Shane.
Right.
Yeah, go ahead.
On that, a lot of business consultants will charge you between $125 to $600 an hour.
Yeah.
So that's why we feel a intricate opportunity. I say that specifically because so many business do fail in the first year. Restaurants is about 90% fail. Most other small brick and mortars, about 60%, 65% fail in the first year. So the first year is so important. And the way you survive it is have as few expenses as possible.
That's right. And we can certainly help you. We're happy to do it. And if you'd like personal attention, go to our Patreon site. The link is in the description below on Facebook or on YouTube, rather. And we'll be happy to help you out. Well, we want to talk about finance. And when we talk about finances, Shane, most people think of a profit and loss statement or an income statement or cash flow or tax returns or all of that. And while those are important, what really counts, that's the end result. We want to talk about today things that make those numbers appear on your various financial systems. So let's start in with what financial numbers are we really talking about? Well, to begin with, there's a lot of them. And we want to make sure that the numbers that we're looking at are the day-to-day numbers that affect your small business. What's happening every day? How many sales? How many this? How many that? All of those things are important, and we want to start with the gross numbers. And Shane, been in the restaurant business for many years. Obviously, the numbers you look at are a number of seats you can turn during your dinner hour, lunch hour, whatever, things like that. And how can you increase the number of the dollar amount per seat in your restaurant?
And that's consistent with all businesses. When I ran businesses, and they weren't just restaurants, they were, other types of businesses, but I always had three accounts. One account was the cash account that would pay the costs on a day-to-day basis. Second was a savings account. And the third one was a tax account. Yes, the savings account and the tax account were savings accounts, basically. But I always put the money aside every single day, and I never touched it. And I kept that, so it was a beacon for me. A beacon of giving me an eye of how successful or not we were. But the key to the individual and what they spend in your store, be it food, liquor, some gardening or house products, whatever it might be, you always want to take a look at that every single day. The number of people that came in your store, the number of people that bought when they came into your store, and then what was the average price of what someone bought. And you'll find very
Mhm.
quickly how busy you are as to whether or not you're making money, because you could have a lot of people coming in but still not generating the daily revenue required, to be able to be successful. It's also something you need to teach your staff so they can keep their job. That we want to get to a certain number. Great things about 21st century um, um, automation and artificial intelligence is the computerized cash registers people use today. It has a significant amount of information that you can ask of it, and it will provide. And you should take advantage of it because it will help you in the long term.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah, Shane's exactly right. We want to keep really close tabs on what we do per day, per week, per month. We need to keep track of those totals because those are the main indicators. Is our marketing and advertising actually working? Is it success or failure? Um, and that'll bring us to the next group of numbers that we want to talk about. And of course, that would be, I'll find it in a minute, Shane. How much business do you want to do? Actually, which
That's
is
right.
that's pretty important. How much do you want to do? And obviously, there's a lot of articles and things on that. One of the things that we need to really look at, all businesses have they have an industry average. So, uh, do you know the average cost of marketing and advertising in your industry? If you don't know that, there's an easy way to find it. Contact your local small business development center. They have ratios of every business imaginable. So if you're running a hardware store, or you got a shoe store, a bakery, a floral shop, gift store, whatever it is, they will have the averages of what that store would make in a certain population. All of that information would be there. But in order to know if your marketing and advertising is working, if you're spending less than the average, then yeah, your advertising is working. You're getting some loyal customers. If not, if the opposite is true, then you're either advertising in the wrong place with the wrong message, or you're not developing loyal customers. And loyal customers, as Shane will tell you, is what we got to have.
Yes, that's so it's so precious having a captive audience, as we've talked about. And the example we gave, a restaurant in a hotel has a captive audience. You on the street in downtown is a captive audience because people will come by. And so you want to try and reach out to those people to step in and let you sell them, and not just walk by, but come in and buy. One of the great things about what Tom's talking to is access to free information. We all grew up with the Nielsen ratings about how we all were told which shows were the most popular and which channel was the most successful. And this is something you can do free of charge. Is basically get your Nielsen ratings from advertisers. They'll give you the demographics, meaning what age groups probably will want to come to your store. They'll give you the demographics on income groups, what
Mhm.
person will have the disposable income. They'll give you the demographics on, is it a store that has products that people want or need. They have all this broken down. They've gone to great expense to provide it, to try to sell you their advertising. So before you buy their advertising, get their information, what they're deciding to charge you. You'll find a comparison of other businesses. This is a failure I made a couple of times, particularly in depending on the size of the city. When I talk to advertisers, I didn't say, "Oh, well, tell me what I'd like to see those numbers." They're very hesitant to tell you, but they will because it's a fair question. If you're not going to answer my questions, then I should have some concerns. So think about questions that are relevant to you with regards to any advertiser you speak to, and have them
Mhm.
ready and write them down, because every question you ask solves a problem you won't have later.
Exactly right. Yeah. Our rule here, of course, advertising must always be an investment. It can never be an expense. Advertising must pay for itself. The
That's
advertising has to bring in enough customers to pay for that advertising. And if it does
mm,
not, then you're either advertising in the wrong place, wrong message, or you're advertising to the wrong people, and you haven't identified your target market or your ideal customer, as it were. So that's
yeah.
why
If
we're
you're
looking at
operating,
you know, yeah,
if
that's
you're
why we're
operating a
looking at
small
these
coffee,
numbers. Yeah. Go ahead.
that's right. Yeah,
Sorry.
if you're operating a small coffee shop that's say 3,000 square feet, 15 to 1,800 front feet, and in the back, and your average person comes in and spends say $8, and somebody do some for $800, right? Well, that's 100 customers. So if you can't see that that brings you in at least 100 different customers, it's not worth the investment.
Mhm.
That's an example of what we're trying to get across here. Is yeah, it's great to advertise, great to see tell your friends and family, oh look, it's in the newspaper. Oh look, I saw it last night during the news on TV or whatever. If it doesn't if that door doesn't swing open because of it and money fall into your cash register because of it, you did a good thing, and it has to work for you, not for the advertiser.
That's true. Yeah, I always say if I was an advertising salesperson and I walked into your business and for every dollar you gave me, I gave you back a 20 or a 50 or 100, how often would you want to see me? So that's what advertising dollars are supposed to do. You put up a dollar, you're supposed to get 20 back, 50 back, 100 back, depending on where you advertise and what it is. Now, the next thing we've got to talk about are your employees trained to produce? Because if your advertising is working and you're bringing in more customers, your sales should increase. And But if they don't, then is it the fault of the employees, or the employees not closing enough people that are coming in? And you may need to train your employees to do things like add-ons. Shane will tell you the best way to increase the sale at a table in a restaurant is to bring out the dessert tray. Bring that baby out there. Here's our 22 layer chocolate double fudge cake. Here's our ice cream parfait. It's a lot. People will pick those desserts much quicker if they're shown it on a tray than they will if you tell them about it.
Yeah, I always started out with training my staffs that it's like a bookshelf on someone's home, cupboard, and they have bookends, and that's what appetizers and desserts are. They're bookends to the meal in between. The important thing about any upselling is that the employee knows that they're there for them to upsell. It's a great thing to be able to go walk to a table and start the process. And very often, if someone orders an appetizer, you'll end up being able to sell them a dessert, and mentioning them during the course of the meal, and or telling them what the favorite or most popular is. These are ways of upselling. But the other thing that's really important about upselling is two things. Brick and mortar shops and restaurants are the same. You have to train your staff what to ask. You might want to say, "Oh, I can let me show you this candle holder," and show it to the person to upsell them. Or if they're looking at a certain flavor, you as an employee should know that there's other flavors similar to it that are maybe new they hadn't smelled before. So upselling someone isn't just an expression; it's a training method as well, that you prepare your staff for knowing how to find something else to sell to the person and not be guessing. The other thing too is you should have these type of training experiences every couple of weeks for 1 to 2 hours, and pay your employees for it. It's an added expense, but you should show that the respect for them. And the other thing that I always found very interesting is to test your staff. I would test my staff, of course, on knowing everything on the menu and the prices. But more important, in a big box store, nothing upsets a customer more than walking into a big box store and nobody knows where anything is. So it doesn't matter whether it's a little shop with 5 rows of products, maybe 1,000 products, or a store like Safeway with 50,000 products. You should know where everything is. So as an employee in that kind of store, you should always be walking around and learning the store, where whatever and wherever everything is. It helps sales. It helps make people feel comfortable, and it tells them you care about the business.
That it does, yeah. Yeah, for example, if you wanted to increase your business 50 grand a year with 3 employees working 22 days a month, each employee would have to generate $63 more than you're producing right now. And
A day.
that
Yes.
is, yeah, and that's not as hard as it may sound. Particularly if you can package things together. If someone buys a widget, maybe there's a carrying case for the widget, maybe there's a tripod for the widget, or there's a uh, something else that goes with it that enhances the use of that widget. So that's what you need to train your employees to do, is to make sure that they know these types of things, and work toward training them to not be obnoxious and hard sell and all of that, but to enhance the shopping experience. You're going to have more loyal customers in the long run.
That's right. Back in the 70s when I was high school, I had a job in a drugstore, and it was like it was called Super D drugstore. It was in Denver. And one of my favorite things was electronics, of course, because it was my generation, but and was happening. But the best was cameras, and the easiest upselling cameras were lenses, because they could
Hmm.
see it. You just, they were looking at a camera. You take out a couple of lenses, put them on the counter, and you take it from them and just put it on another lens, and not be, oh, look at this, but this is something I really like, and tell them this is a good thing. Coming from sounding like you know more about a product than they do isn't a bad thing if you do it in a soft way. You don't look at somebody and say, you probably haven't used this before, but if you say to them, this is something I enjoy, especially when I'm out bird watching, and yeah, it was really great to have products in your store that you can easily add on to, as a way to upsell somebody, that probably is more than willing to do it. I mean, that's the bottom line. You can always tell, by customers when they walk through the store and what they're looking at, if they have disposable income. You can tell whether someone's coming in to buy something they need or they want. And the best person to upsell is somebody who wants something. That's the
Yeah.
best person.
Amen. Amen to that. Yeah. Next, we want to talk about, how do you look to your customers? When they walk into your place of business, are the carpets frayed and worn? Is it dusty? The stuff kind of not neatly on the shelves, or hung properly, or whatever. And these are another training thing for the employees, that when you don't have customers, they should be taking care of the store. The store needs to look as good as possible. I don't know how many times I've seen a TV commercial where everything looks sparkly and nice, and I walk in and it's I'm wondering if I'm in a junkyard or not. So, yeah, how you look to your customers, very important to. This is another form of advertising, Shane. It's another form of marketing.
That's why it's called window shopping. This was something that became famous during the Victorian times in the 1800s, in the middle of late 1800s, after the World's Fair that was so successful. They suggested to people owning shops, take down the wooden fronts and put in glass, and then you use that as a method to advertise what you have in your store. And that's what people do now, and they have successfully done for now over 100 years and 120 years. So get into it. There's different themes. Yesterday was St. Patty's Day. Good theme to pick up is what's coming. There's enough of them in our customs, or you know um, uh, in our countries. There's enough customs in our country to follow up with different themes, and people enjoy that, especially women. 80% of all purchases are made by women.
Yes, they are, and that's not a bad deal at all.
No,
Yeah,
no.
and well, one of the last things we want to cover here. Um, what do you know about your customers? What do you know about your customers? Because that's um, uh, many times businesses claim that the, I know their customers. They tell me what they like and they don't like. Well, they probably aren't going to tell you your carpet sucks, or they're probably not going to tell you your store's dusty. They're probably not going to be really truly honest with you any more than you if you walked into somebody's house, and saw their purple shag rug and their green walls, and would you comment on, gee, that looks really great? So, so you need to have a way. One of the things I like to advise businesses: make it as easy as possible as you can to allow customers to complain. If there's something they don't like, make it easy for them to complain somehow, some way.
Yeah, there's that's a great piece of advice because every person that comes into your store, brick and mortar or on your site in no social media, is honoring you. They're honoring you because they have earned the money to decide to spend, and they're considering you as an option as to where to spend that money. So you have to treat them regally because they're showing you a great deal of respect walking into your business, whether it's on screen or off the street. Speaking off the street is important because it's relative to your website and how people will deal with it there. Comfort of ambience, lighting, the temperature, especially in a climate where there's extremes. Nothing happier for someone walking in on a hot summer day in a very high humidity place to a place that's cool and it has some air running or filtering and isn't humid, or the reverse. Someone coming in from a cold day in Bozeman, Montana, where it's a dry winter, not a humid, but a dry one, but the room is warm and they have to undo their jacket and maybe take their scarf off and certainly their gloves. It makes them more comfortable. These are the things they do when they first come home. So if they do some of the things they do when they first come home as they enter your store, this is a powerful draw, and it's a welcoming that you can take advantage of to try and enhance their interest in the product they will want by the time you finish talking to them.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. Well, the last word on business condition. If I were going to, if I were training for the Olympics, for the 100-yard dash, for example, I would go out and I would run a 100-yard dash and I would look at my time. And what am I going to do to, what kind of training, what kind of physical things am I going to do to improve that time? And that's the same thing you do in business. Every day you look at your numbers. What did you do today, to this week, this month? And how can you improve those numbers? That's what you're constantly looking at. And you're looking at your salespeople. How many people are walking without without buying something? And what's the reason for that? Do your salespeople need training? Is there something that is going on with the products and services you offer? So being a real student of you're like a doctor. You come in, you take the blood pressure, you take the oxygen, you look in the throat and feel around on the lymph nodes and whatever, listen to the heart, all those things, because the doctor's saying, okay, I'm looking for signs of a problem. And that's what you're looking for when you look at these financial numbers. You're looking for any problem that can be solved and improve your business. And it's a daily study. No one, I don't care how long you've been in business, um, business is a constant study, as Shane knows from his experiences as well as mine.
That's right. And one of the most important things that you have learned today from our talk is there's a difference between a customer and a client. A customer is someone new to you. A customer is someone that has just found you. A customer is someone that has maybe not even bought or a product or asked you a question. A client is someone who has already been there, done that. A client is someone who's consistently goes to the same place. What, like Don was mentioning, a doctor, a lawyer, an accountant, they all have clients. Yes, they're always looking for new customers, but they have an established clientele. That's what you want. You want to take your business, build an established clientele around new customers that you meet every day. And this is why the staff that you have and the staff that you train is so important, because if a customer leaves without spending any money, it's as bad as the employee opening the register and taking out a tip. you know, so we're always worried about money leaving the cash register for the wrong reason, a lost sale or a bad employee, and the back door not being locked, and product or inventory disappearing. And these are the kinds of things that we're trying to get across to you, that you need to always deal with. We'll cover those other issues at a later time. But today, client or customer? How do you move a customer to a regular clientele?
Amen. That's all it's done. Hey, if you'd like to make a podcast like this, we use StreamYard for these podcasts. There's a link to that in the description below on YouTube and Facebook. And you can do all kinds of things there. Of course, you can have as many as 10 people on with you if you can handle that. But we can move people around. We can change, where they are. We can put them like that, or put them like this, or you can do all sorts of things. Put the things on the screen. We can show screenshots. We can do all kinds of stuff. Hey, and don't forget also our website, tomandshane.com. We got more things over there, business articles, tips, and all kinds of things over there. So you'll want to do that. And of course, subscribe, ring the notification bell, like us, leave a comment. We would be very appreciative of that. Also, we're on Patreon. If you'd like personal attention from Tom and Shane, you can check out our Patreon website and see the perks and benefits of being associated with us, and we'll be happy to help you with business challenges that you may have. And so that's probably going to wrap it up for today. So hey, say goodbye, Shane.
I will indeed. Be happy, be safe, everyone. Thank you for taking the time to listen to us. Hope you enjoyed this and all the other shows you can download for free, and live in the moment, live to work. This is a great lesson we're talking about, having the opportunity to live to work and not work to live. It's a very difficult time sometimes to wonder what you're doing, but not if you work your own business. And then finally, be happy when in your life, and come home happy, and come home with a smile on your face. That's the way your family wants to see you when you come through that front door.
Amen to that. Hey, and don't forget our radio show is on Saturdays, 8 to 11 Mountain Time. You can listen live at kmmsam.com, kmmsam.com. You don't have to sign up for anything. You don't have to join anything. You don't have to leave any personal information. All you do is click listen live, or listen now rather, and boom, you'll be on with us. You can call us, you can text us. You can do all kinds of things like that. Also, our past shows are also at kmmsam.com. Click on Tom and Shane's podcasts, and you can catch up on any of our radio shows or any of these shows that we put on here on YouTube. So that's going to wrap it up for us today. And yeah, we appreciate it. Thanks, guys. I was listening driving, so I couldn't comment. So that's all right, Bruce. We appreciate you being here. So all right, we will talk to you on the radio on on Saturday. That'll be our next. Yeah, it'll be our next time around. So, and we'll be back here, of course, next Tuesday. So stay tuned for that. All right, that's going to wrap it up for us. Thanks, everybody, and we'll talk to you on the radio on Saturday.